always happens to me. Hello, everybody, and welcome. So we're doing something interesting today. For some contextual framework, earlier today, there was a live stream done between Sargon of Akkad and Destiny, in which many of the topics that were raised in it were talking about the Black American experience. And I'm not one of those people who's like, well, you know, if you're not Black or not American, then you can't really talk about the Black American experience. Everybody has a point of view. Not everybody's points are very good, but you know, everybody has a point of view and everybody's welcome to them. But I figured it would be kind of interesting to do an open forum discussion style, where, you know, if we're going to talk about the Black American experience, let's get some Black Americans together and let's, you know, talk about some of the points that were raised in the stream in and of itself. So we have two of my good friends, Patty Politics and Tyler Preston here, who are YouTubers. So far, we have Brandon, who's a viewer. If you are a Black American viewer, by all means, please tweet at me, because this is basically going to be an open forum stream discussion. Oh, and it looks like we have somebody else. What's up, Isaiah?
What's up? Oh,
Nice
shit,
to meet
my
you,
real
man.
name is on there?
What's that?
Is my real name on there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Should I call you something else? Or is the secret out too soon?
I guess it's too late now.
Yeah.
Wait, is my real name coming up or is the Jet Li coming up?
Just Brandon. Brandon's just coming up.
Okay, is there a way you can change that?
Everybody what?
Change that.
I don't think so. Not
Unless
really.
you go to Google Plus to change your name.
Yeah, but it doesn't show like your email address, and it doesn't show like your last name.
I don't have Google Plus on my phone, so fuck that.
Yeah. But yeah, so this will basically just be an open floor discussion sort of style thing. And I had, where is it? Oh, I have it over here. So how did all of you guys, I know Patty didn't get a chance to watch it. Me and Tyler watched the whole thing. Did you guys get to watch that Sargon and Destiny live stream?
Oh, yes. Sargon got walked into every trap he could.
Yeah, he did. But I thought it was kind of interesting, like, all right, so as far as I could see, there were four main contentions that I really wanted to touch on, and that was a huge portion of what they were talking about was the decline of the marriage rate. Then there was poverty, there was crime, and then there was the perception of blue collar jobs, and that one got really fucking weird.
Oh yeah.
You know, I couldn't even wrap my fucking head around it. So, you know, I mean, it's up to you guys. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the blue collar jobs first.
Sure, yes.
I mean, is anybody here from like a blue collar family?
No, not mine. It's like my family tends to be like teachers, not really blue collar.
Most of my family.
My mom's a GM accountant at GM, the headquarters of GM.
I work for Central Steel.
Oh, really? Cool. Right
Mhm.
on. He works for Central Steel.
Okay.
Right on. Cool. And I think it's weird when people disparage blue collar jobs, because that's if I'm not mistaken, isn't blue collar work just basically the backbone of American infrastructure? Like, how would you shit on that?
It's just so amazing,
Well,
like how he just did shit like that. Like he said in the whole entire stream that like people don't really want to do construction work when there's actually people that do want to do construction works. I won't say like there's no people that not want to do it, but still like there are definitely some people that want to do it.
I think some people they don't really know what goes into the work, and so a lot of times they disparage the work. They think that, you know, all you're doing is putting some bricks together or putting some cement blocks together. You're not really doing anything special. They've never done the work, and a lot of millennials today, you know, don't really get their hands dirty as much. They'd rather do a liberal arts job or talk down to people in like psychology class or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like the
So
liberal
they don't
arts,
really understand.
right? The liberal arts stuff is nothing in comparison to construction. Like nothing
Well,
at all. It's like all blood,
I
sweat,
know
and
this
tears
is
for the construction.
But yeah, see, I don't really think the issue
a blue
was-
collar thing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Blue collar thing. What are you saying?
I was gonna say, I know this isn't like a blue collar job, but like me doing farm work, I was in an argument with someone, and one of their friends responded to them on Twitter and said, "Ha ha ha, so and so, I know you're not arguing with a farmer." What do you mean with with a farmer? Like, what's wrong with talking to a farmer? Are you know what I'm saying? Just kind of the way she said it. And she's a millennial. They were both millennials.
You should have just told them, at least I can feed my own ass.
That's what I told her. I said, I feed you. I said, I feed people like you.
Yeah, but see, I don't think the thing that Destiny was arguing was, okay, we need to like disparage these jobs. I think he was hello. All right, yeah, he was saying that. To me, it seemed like you were saying that these jobs aren't the ideal. Like if you're raising kids, the thing you want your kid to do isn't, okay, let's go work at this construction job for 15 hours a day, breaking your knees and hurting your back all constantly. Like it seemed like to me he was saying that this isn't the ideal job for anybody to be in, not necessarily that it's a bad job.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too because I've run into this a few times with various different like jobs that I've worked and friends that have worked harder blue collar jobs, and it might have been one of you guys I was talking to about factory jobs, but it's interesting because there is proud family businesses, construction businesses. My buddy, his dad owns a construction company that he built from the ground up from nothing. But I mean, not the sad state of affairs is not everybody can go to college. If everybody went to college, like the whole country would fall apart. If there was nothing but specialists out there, there was
like people have their own kind of different preferences. Some people prefer to go to college. Some people prefer to go to trade school. So it kind of depends entirely on the person and what they want to do in life.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a certain type of proud heritage in like journeyman positions where you learn specific carpentry trades like electrician, plumber, that sort of thing.
By the way, he actually compares like carpentry to construction. I cannot believe that in the stream.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or it looks like my friend David actually might be in, but it shows that he's muted. David's a buddy of mine in real life. I love this man. If he can get his USB headset figured out, he's a wise person. But by all means, please.
All right. I guess I don't know. I guess I'm taking this position because I guess I'm the liberal SJW for today. But the story when he was talking about when he was working carpet clean jobs, it didn't seem like he was saying that like these jobs are like, no, I guess just like rephrase the story. He was saying like when he got fired from the casino business, like the casino thing or whatever, hours and hours and hours working these jobs just to get by. Like he was saying it from the perspective of, I've did jobs that aren't. It isn't like what most of you guys are doing, just talking crap on SJWs on YouTube. It's take too many shots. But you get what I'm saying?
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm only going to be able to say it from my perspective or anything like that, but I prior to doing this, I pretty much was doing like the shittiest fucking jobs anybody could possibly do.
What kind of jobs?
Oh fuck, man!
Blowjobs.
There's David. There's David. What's up, man? It's good to hear you.
Hello, everybody.
This is my good friend David. I love the shit out of him. He's amazing.
You all right?
Yeah, David's on. You want to say hi to David real quick?
Hi, David.
Hello, Mims. Long time no see.
I miss you.
Yeah.
I miss the two of you as well.
Aw.
I gotta get back to work.
And of course, as soon as David comes on, you know what David says as soon as he comes on? We're talking about how I've worked some crappy jobs. He's like, yeah, blowjobs.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Hold on, not all blowjobs are crappy jobs.
True that. I've had some.
Not from me.
Yet the night is young, my friend.
But yeah, I worked factory jobs. I took care of disabled people and wiping ass and that kind of thing. Like I've worked shitty jobs.
So guess I'm saying like would you prefer that over what you're doing now? Like even if you let's say you work those shit jobs is made more than you do now as a YouTube streamer. It seemed to me like even though you'll be making more money, it seems like you would prefer doing this on YouTube, right?
It's different, you know. When I was taking care of severely disabled people, it had its own kind of reward that was very different from like a monetary reward. I felt like I made a difference in somebody's life. I know people who do that as a career and they never want to do anything else, you know. It just depends, you know. Me and David know quite a few people here in this town who are self-made people who are construction workers. And that was like a big thing that Destiny was talking about today, was like nobody wants to be a construction worker. And I'm like, I don't think that's true.
That's not true at all.
Yeah.
It's not true at all. I mean, why what makes him think that some people, you know, like some people get into architecture and they love the idea of designing a home or whatnot, and they even join in with building, you know, what they've just imagined into their head. What gave him the idea? Some people don't want to be construction workers, because my husband is a he's pretty much like an all-around fix everything. He can do electricity, plumbing, construction, all of that, and he loves what he does. He has no college degree either, but everyone wants him to work for them. That's what he does. If he didn't want to do it, he wouldn't do it. Like if I ask him to take out the trash, if he didn't want to do it, he's not going to do it. So what makes Destiny think that people in construction don't want it? Maybe there are some people out there who don't, but what makes him think of an overall majority for him to actually say that people don't want construction jobs?
Yeah, I would love to see some serious statistics over that.
Right.
I'm kind of wondering if maybe one of Destiny's points that he just was trying to make, but he didn't get around to it, was that was less so much. I mean, because he said some of the things that he said were just bad. But maybe what he was trying to infer was he wanted people to have the freedom and option and availability to seek higher degrees if they wanted to, which I can understand. But that isn't what he said. So.
Well, the thing is, I'm not going to say people like Destiny, because I really don't know who Destiny is. This is the first time I've ever heard of the guy.
Same here.
Right. Maybe. Right. So, like, people with his mindset, I kind of feel like it's the everyone should go to college mindset, and I just don't believe that. I went to college for 2 years. It was a Christian Calvinist college. It had nothing, me not attending after 2 years had nothing to do with religion or Calvinism, but had everything to do with the fact that despite going to college for international relations and politics, which is what I really enjoyed doing, I wasn't happy in a setting where I felt like my life was being controlled. And not to mention, but the college that I went to was actually getting a lot more progressive leaning, where I felt like they weren't actually teaching theology, but kind of teaching theology meant to conform to the world, which is like a totally different discussion. But I just didn't feel happy. And since having that experience, I absolutely do not believe that college is for everyone. Let people go to a trade school, invest in trade, invest in, learning how to, plug up electronics or something. In my opinion, there are too many people attending college who get these degrees and find out they're worthless because everyone else has these degrees as well.
Not to mention these utter useless degrees too, like gender studies.
Right. Gender studies. Right. They get gender studies degree and then go to like a steel glass blowing plant, and they're like, give me a job, and you're like, do you know how to blow glass? No, but I know how to make gender blow grass or something.
I can critique you in the way that you interact with people. Give me some money for that.
Right, I can critique you of how your glass blowing is sexism. That's what I can do.
That's clearly a phallic symbol, furthering the decades long. Anyway, I went to U of O and LCC, and I went from sociology, and I was a philosophy major for like a year and a half, and I finally got my degree.
You went to U of M?
Yeah, University of Oregon,
Oh,
And,
University of Oregon. I thought you said University of Michigan. I'm sorry.
But then I got, went from one useless degree to another useless degree, and finally got a useless degree in psychology a year and a half ago. And all of those are completely pointless, and I'm glad that I did. But yeah, there's no point. It's silly.
I mean, knowledge
Yeah.
for knowledge's sake is good,
Right.
And even you can still get something out of college even if you don't necessarily end up using the degree. I mean, I
Absolutely.
haven't gotten my higher degree yet, but I got my minor degree. I'm not using it, I mean, it comes in handy when I'm communicating with people, especially on some of the topics. But I don't know. I thought it was weird.
I just don't. Yeah.
I just thought it was weird how he just shit on blue collar America. It was weird. I mean, do you feel, Isaiah? Do you feel like he was?
No, I don't really think he was doing it. I think he was like saying, it seems like he was saying these jobs are, do you think they're like noble or good? He was saying that these aren't the ideal jobs that anybody would want to do. Like I'm sure, I'm just throwing it out from my own personal experience, because I remember, watching my dad come home from work after 17 hours, talking about his back hurting, his knees hurting, and telling me, "Hey son, go get a job doing something else. It's not something you really want to do." You get what I'm saying? I guess.
Yeah.
I guess
I get what you're saying. Well, I mean, my dad worked at the post office until he got back into active duty in the military, and he fucking hated it. But I mean, despite the fact that he was, it was destroying him, and he actually ended up having to leave. Otherwise, he was going to snap. He still, I still found what he did to be noble, because he did it because it provided for his family. And I think that's really like a big part of it too. Any job can be noble as long as you're doing it for the right reasons.
I might have an interesting perspective on this. The company I work for now is a moving company, and I started in 2005 just needing some money, and I've worked my way up. And I just ran a shipment to Spokane, and I had a guy working for me. He was like 35 or so, and he's been in the industry for like 17 years. And I was like, "God, you're a badass." He's like, "Yeah, well, I figured out recently that if I don't work hard all day, I can't sleep." And I feel the same way. Like when I was in the back of the truck loading furniture, is like the happiest time of my life, because my life was complete. Like there's a beginning and an end. And when I got off of work, I was like, had this level of satisfaction, and that hard work is just, it's worship. It's, it's like sacred. It's wonderful. But also, I worked up the company, and, I make 6 figures now. And I work from home, and it's fucking rad. And so it's like,
I bet.
on the other side, it's like, you don't want to do that stuff. Like, it's hard. If you give people the choice, they're like, well, yeah, give me the fucking shitload of money, but not everybody can do that. But yeah. Who is this guy that you guys are talking about? I want to see what you were saying.
So it was a live stream earlier today with two pretty big YouTubers. One is he's a gaming live streamer named Destiny. He's this white American dude who just has
white American telling blacks how they live.
Yeah. and then Sargon. And then there's Sargon. He's a quarter black, and he's in the UK. Sargon does a lot of political stuff, and it was an interesting discussion. But they touched on a bunch of other topics, which, I mean, if you guys are ready to move on to another one, they basically ended up talking about the Black American experience a lot. And the easy one was the blue collar jobs. So which one do you guys want to tackle next? Crime, poverty, or the marriage rate?
Let's talk about crime, I guess.
Crime. This is a fun topic.
I'm
the best
I'm
part.
an African, by the way. That's an important part of this, also.
I kind of wish I charged my phone. It's about to die.
Oh shit! Can you grab a charge cable and just keep it plugged in?
I don't know. I'll see in a second, yo.
Okay.
If it gets there.
All right. Cool.
If not, I'll just call back on Twitter.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. So the thing is, like, there's the conversation about the crime rates in America, where they're localized, but a lot of it comes down to the biggest question is why are the rates where they are? You know, where does it stem from, and what is really the cause of it? And that's always been an interesting conversation, I've thought. A lot of
Yeah,
people are
like
very uncomfortable to talk about it, but I
Y'all
think
might not like this, but genetically, blacks have more testosterone, and testosterone equals violence.
I don't think everybody
That's the only
has like
thing that the racialists have right.
Depending on who you ask, one person's going to say the government encourages black people to commit crime, and the other person's going to say black people commit crime because they have the agency of their own bodies and their own choices.
Both are
right.
correct.
Like I think I'm of the opinion that like it comes down to personal agency. Like if a person decides to have a life of crime, they decide to do it upon themselves, not because of circumstances. And I guess there are some circumstances where blacks do commit crime because they have no other options. However, I don't think that makes that right either.
Well, Ben Shapiro had a I don't know if you guys listen to Ben Shapiro, but Ben Shapiro had
Ben is senpai.
Patty, no, you roboted out.
Yeah, she just roboted out.
basically.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, you gotta start over from Ben Shapiro because it just roboted out for a sec.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Robotic.
I was going to say, okay, I said Ben Shapiro and Sally Khan had a debate at, I think it was like political convention or something, but they were talking about black crime rates and why black men are in jail for drugs a lot more than white males, and they ended up having this debate on Twitter. Sally Khan kept pointing to this Washington Post article saying, look, this says that police, patrolling these neighborhoods catch black men more. This is why it's the police. And finally, Ben Shapiro showed her in the same article that Washington Post admitted that black males tend to sell drugs outside their homes more often than white males. White males often sell inside their house. Black males often sell outside on the streets. And
right. So basically,
it
comes down to just the amount of crime that happens in the areas, and I guess it seems still that black areas, a lot of them tend to have a lot more crime.
So,
yeah.
Well, I mean, if we go by that metric, then how did it become in that? How did that develop?
I'm sorry.
Floor's your guys's.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing.
How it developed? It seems still like during the 60s, 70s, like people were actually doing successful during the civil rights movement, and I think that the reason why things are the way they are is because perhaps maybe due to welfare, because I think families started to become more dependent on welfare, and then they started to make a lot of crime, and so I think there's a lot of different factors on why it actually happened. So I think welfare is one of them.
Yeah,
I mean, but if
I think
welfare was the case,
sorry, say that again.
hello?
Yeah,
but if welfare was the case, it seemed to me there would be some kind of statistic that would show, like you would see that even out. I mean, sure, welfare is prevalent in a lot of these communities, but that doesn't account for the places where, like, say, what's it in certain parts of Virginia where I don't know, it's somewhere like I can't read the point, but it's
those poor
welfare
whites in that area. Yes, there's no accounting for that. Like only black people tend that only correlates for black people, income and crime. No one else does it correlate.
So what you're talking about is like for like say some redneck whites that are on welfare I thought they did have a pretty high crime rate.
They do, but it doesn't correlate along with the rest of the race.
Really? Interesting. Okay.
Unlike us, it correlates.
So I've had a theory for a while on something that might have been a contributing factor, and that is I can't think of a better way to explain it, but the crack explosion. The
Yeah, in the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s. So the thing that's actually really interesting, and a lot of people aren't very aware of it, is when crack became epidemic levels, especially in inner cities, and that was like really the beginning of like the war on drugs. The sentencing for crack was vastly more severe than the sentencing for cocaine. And when you were mapping out the different neighborhoods that were using each of these drugs, there was definitely a racialized component to who was doing what. And so it disproportionately affected Black neighborhoods, because if you're more likely to be punished for a drug in one neighborhood and you were in a Black neighborhood and you're punished for crack, you would get a more severe sentence than if you were white and punished for cocaine. And that's something that I thought maybe might have been a contributing factor.
I think that the government, so depending on who you ask, they'll have, kind of like this specific outlook concerning systemic racism. I think that the government back then did have a lot to do with, how Black Americans are now, such as the drug wars and, kind of flooding neighborhoods with, and encouraging Black people specifically. And I hate to bring like parties into this, but encouraging Black people to vote for the party that gives out money for things like welfare, just like Tyler Preston said, welfare and other sort of government government safety nets that they've made kind of specifically for Black people to get into. But as time has gone by, the way I see it is that Black Americans have pretty much an equal opportunity not to engage in those things. At the end of the day, it kind of comes down to, are you going to engage in? And I totally admit that ignorance and uneducation has a lot to do with people engaging in drugs and engaging in bad
like
behavior overall.
Because a lot of schools in Black neighborhoods, they tend to be very bad. Like the book materials are bad, like the buildings sometimes could be bad. So those of social economic factors can also be a factor.
Chicago's
Detroit
literacy
schools
rate
are
is
horrible.
Chicago's literacy rate is shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're the most per capita.
We had
per child.
We had Detroit schools.
Oh no! What just happened? Uh-oh. Shit. Is anybody? David's still here.
I'm here.
Three of us now.
Yeah, Tyler's still here. Everybody else just like, I guess.
Okay, she's back.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, Brandon, Isaiah, if you see this, hop back in. I guess it dropped.
He's back.
Okay, cool.
Did I drop?
It dropped like 3 of you all of a sudden. I don't know why. That's so weird. That's really
well, before it cut off, I was saying that Detroit schools were so bad that there were mushrooms growing out of the walls.
Oh Jesus. How bad is it over in Chicago, Brandon?
About a stone's throw from Detroit, but we actually maintained the buildings.
Yeah.
But our roads are shit.
Yeah.
When I was
libraries barely have any good books in them.
Fuck.
When I was a sociology major, there's this really passionate guy, Dim Salt, up at LCC, and he was like, he was so stoked about everything he was teaching. He's changing the world. He's inspiring us to change the world. It's beautiful, It's the way that you would imagine a good college course would be. And he told us this story about how his brother, who is a high school teacher in the Midwest, and he had the same fire in his belly and the same, passion to inspire everybody. And the principal of this high school came to him and he's like, dude, what are you doing? I understand that you are teaching these kids important things and critical thinking, but these dudes are going to be fucking farmers, yo. You're not doing them a service by instilling all this knowledge, and basically you're just gonna curse them with a dissonance, because whatever they think, they're going to end up being farmers, And when you think about black schools or black crime, you know, it's like a white kid does something. They're like, well, boys will be boys, you know, don't let it happen again. You know, black person comes up for a crime and it's like, well, he's a bad seed. This is just going to be one of the first of many crimes he's going to commit, blah, 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 blah. And so you think about these black schools and like the teachers in these schools and the parents, you know, these kids go to the school, then they go home to their broke ass parents, you know, working shitty shit jobs. And like Big Sean, he says, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. You know, and it's very difficult to get people to care about it because they look around their neighborhood and, you know, working these shit jobs just breaks people in half.
Right. Even the fucking neighborhoods are pretty bad. Like, I see people not even cutting their grass or doing proper maintenance near their house.
Well, my area of the neighborhood must be different then, because most of my area keeps their shit in check.
Yeah, some of the
Learn how
nicest.
to cut the grass and all that.
Yeah,
Hey, so what did I miss?
I don't know. For some reason, it dropped like 3 of you guys all at once, and just I don't know. But what we were talking about, I think at this point we were talking about how some of the schools are broken down, the neighborhoods are pretty trashed. And you missed eloquence from David. I'm sorry.
Some of the teachers don't care to make sure the kids can read.
Right. You know, one of the biggest problems we have with education in general in America, but it disproportionately affects black neighborhoods more than really any of the other racialized neighborhoods, I guess, for lack of a better word to use, is the way we fund public schools is based on property taxes. So if you have an area of a city that the property taxes are extremely low, whether that's due to like a high crime rate or because it's historically like a quote unquote bad neighborhood, then those schools are going to be less funded than schools in nicer parts of town. And that just seems fucked up that your children's
Doesn't matter. All of my teachers were good.
Yeah.
So I must be somehow be the exception to all these rules then.
That's an interesting point.
Because all my teachers at every school I went to was fucking great. You know what? When I was 6, I went to one school I really loved, but they changed the way we went to school around, so we had to transfer out of there. And then I got tested into special ed. No Child Left Behind, Common Core 1.0.
Oh shit.
That hurts people too.
I know. I guess kind of like the school that I went to. Well, one of them, it wasn't the best school in the area I'm in. I mean, I remember I had my gym teacher, legit gym teacher, was also the biology teacher, and he had no any kind of understanding of any kind of.
Wow.
Science, my history teacher was arguing against the evolution by saying, like it was we was talking about something. We was talking about how giraffe over time. I hope I'm not misrepresenting this idea, but giraffes over time their necks got longer because of the food sources or whatever or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
You're just roboting out a little bit.
Oh, well, yeah, he was arguing about, like, we was talking about evolution and how giraffes' necks or whatever grow depending on their food sources, like the giraffes with the shorter necks, whatever, right? And he was saying, oh, no, evolution isn't true. Something like God did it, and we all just need to go to church. And, like, you just sit there just saying, like, look around, like, am I...
God reached down, he was like, let me help you with that. There you go.
That's pretty good. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, like my teacher now, like one of my teachers now, I hope I don't get him in trouble by looking for it. Like he's kind of against us recording him, I guess, because he's saying controversial things. I remember we were sitting in class and we were talking about history, about like the Romans or the Greeks or whatever like that. And out of nowhere, he was just like, guys, I know you don't want to hear this, but the Democrats, they don't want you to believe that the Democrats, they're evil. They want you to believe that evolution is true. But I just don't see it, guys. And we're just sitting there.
He's got them being evil for the wrong reasons. God damn it.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh,
God damn it. Evil for the wrong reasons.
I just really hate just hearing these stories about how teachers don't appreciate separation of church and state. Like, it's okay to have these kind of religious views, but keep that out of the schools.
Yeah. It's
It's a
No, I
fine line to
totally
me.
agree.
I agree ish, I think that a lot of religions have developed as a very, very functional part of a working society. Like there's theories about how you can correlate the size of a social group in primates based on the size of their neocortex, and it's like a straight line. And so if you just take a primate, if it's this big, they're gonna have 7, and it keeps on going up. And humans obviously have the big one, obviously have the biggest neocortexes. And so according to the size and according to this very, very accurate chart, humans have the capacity to have 150 individuals in their social groups. And this is something that is shown throughout history and throughout society. So like church sects will usually break off at 150. Like army divisions, social clubs, big companies right now, instead of having these big, huge buildings, they will have a bunch of little buildings that are at 150. And I forgot why I started saying that, but it was related at the time.
Like social cohesiveness based upon like groupings of faith or like-minded ideas.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And so there's this theory that I recently learned in evolutionary psychology, which is amazing class. And it was saying that one of the things about religion is that like once we get over 150 people in a social group, which technology allowed, we have to have a way to keep people acting right, because with the anonymity, people don't have this like pressure to keep doing good. But if God is always watching you, if you have 150 or less, your brain can understand all of them. They're all like you're a unit. And so if they see you doing something, then there's going to be repercussions. So one of the theories about how evolution or how religion grew is that it is because you need somebody to be there, making sure you're acting right. And every single human culture has had a creation myth, a religion of some sort. And so I do think that religion should be out of school. And I think that in the next 10 to 500 years, there will be a push for a more secular religion, because all the life teachings are very, very, very valuable. And they're also all self-evident, and they are present in every single fucking religion. Like they all agree on the same 5 things. Now I don't know about fish on Fridays and don't put your dick in buttholes or whatever the hell, but they're all saying the same shit. And you all like every human will arrive at these same 5 or 6 truths of just like, yeah, don't be an asshole all the time. And I do believe that there should be some kind of morality teaching that we all agree on, but not because Jesus is this white dude and fish and bread or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has that has some merit to it. Is absolutely. I think you'd probably really enjoy Gad Saad if you haven't heard of him before.
Yes, the Godfather. Yes.
Yeah, Gad Saad is amazing. He's an evolutionary psychologist. He's fascinating. He has similar ideas to that too. He's a hardliner atheist though. Whew. But he's got great Jew jokes. He cracks jokes about his Jewishness all the time, and he's hilarious. He's a great dude.
I have added it to my tabs.
Absolutely. Good old Gad Saad. All right. Well, so one of the main contentions in the stream that happened today in their debate, it stemmed from the crime and the poverty debate, and that was there was a point put forward that one of the main contributors to the issues in black neighborhoods was that the decline of the marriage rate hit the black neighborhoods before the white neighborhoods. So what do you guys think about that?
Interesting.
Like marriage itself is what preventing poverty? Is that what
no, it was more like the contention was that single parent homes have less of a structure that allows to teach good values to children. And that increased the chances of kids falling into bad patterns of behavior, led to crime. And obviously the more crime and bad activity going on in your neighborhood, you're cute, the more likely that the poverty level is going to be maintained, because it's going to be perceived as a impoverished neighborhood.
See, I don't know. That's one thing I've never really got because like I lived in various different neighborhoods throughout my life, and
You're
I've been in
robotic.
some really really bad neighborhoods. But the first time I've ever seen someone get killed was like outside of my house when I was in like a slightly lower middle class area. So I never really got that connection. So I don't know. Like, cause it seems to me
Yeah.
just in my area, you get this kind of like you have like a lot of crime and gang areas, but it's like in the suburbs now, so it's not necessarily connected to poverty. I don't know.
I think a lot of it too is just they were basing it on larger statistics and crime rates and that sort of thing. I mean, I can see where you're coming from. Like, for example, here in Eugene, the most dangerous neighborhood in town is the college district. It's not the poorest neighborhoods. It's actually where all the college kids act like assholes.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The crime rate over by campus is way higher than anywhere near the Whitaker, out by Four Corners. Way worse.
Is that
Way-
adjusted for violent crime? Or
Yeah,
does
it's
MIP count?
specifically for violent crime, not necessarily for.
Okay.
Hello.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's weird. But I mean that
Weird.
like, and that was the thing. That was another thing that they were going back and forth on when they were having their discussion was, Destiny wanted to talk about social groups as a whole, as a large collective, and that's basing it off of statistics. And Sargon was trying to bring in more individualism to the topic. For instance, Destiny was like, the reduction in the family structure in Black neighborhoods. Why did that happen? Why did that happen? And Sargon's like, well, you'd have to go ask them. And so that was really a big question as well, because we do know by statistics that the marriage rate has dropped, and it's not just dropped in Black families. It's dropped
It's
in all
just everywhere.
families.
Yeah.
But it happened to Black families first. I think like 5 or 6 years before it fell everywhere else in America. And so one of the big questions that was left unanswered in that was, why did that happen?
Oh, that's a really hard question to answer, though. But
It is.
Prison happened.
Yeah.
When I
Prison
lived
happened. Oh, Patty, you're roboting.
I guess my guess on the reason
only
why
one
it's
my
actually
graduating class.
you're still roboting right now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know. It sounds like a song I would fucking pop and lock to.
I know. This motherfucker's pop and lock.
Hey, yo, don't be a punch in that culture. You're a fucking fucker, man.
Oh,
I think it comes down to social attitudes. Like, I think maybe people just don't really care as much when they get into a loving relationship compared to what happened in the past. And I think the reason why they probably think this way is because they probably raised to say, well, I want to be with X, Y, and Z person, and they turn out not to be X, Y, and Z, and so they end up separating because of that, and because they're not as committed as some other people.
Right.
I think
go
ahead.
I guess the only problem I have with the whole whether or not marriage is the leading cause is like marriage been decreasing for years now, ever since like the 70s or whatever. But crime rate has also
It's
been
the 70s.
So I don't really see the connection between like, okay, there's less marriages now, should be more crime.
I mean, and that's actually something that is kind of contested. They did kind of take it as an arbitrary like statement of we're just going to go off of this, which was when the marriage rate went down and the crime rate went up, that those were correlated, which is it's not proven, obviously, but it is strangely. It's strangely.
I think it's
tough.
also perhaps maybe the fact that a lot of women tend to go to really busy jobs, and because they probably spend more time at their jobs, the men tend to not be as happy, and so they separate.
It's all the women's fault. Got it.
Damn, we lost our quota for women.
Yeah, I this is such a tough thing to figure out. you got the 70s, and there's the free love explosion, the taboos of being able to have women are more empowered to leave if their marriage is falling apart. Maybe that helped it. Maybe it was people awakening to a more sexually liberal society. Maybe that did it. Maybe it was the increase in arrests surrounding certain crimes, the explosion of drugs. I mean, I don't know. This is honestly why I wanted to talk about it, because
Actually, it's all of it at the same time.
you think?
Yeah, I could do better all by myself. Women attitude and black women in the 80s, combined with the state giving them money, combined with they said that they don't need a man, so they don't care if their man's in jail. Some of them lie to put their men in jail,
Oh, that's so horrible. I hate that.
and some of them lie for what's that thing that women can do but men can't? Child support. Yeah, child support.
Oh.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can everyone hear me now?
Yeah, you sound great. Yes. And Alexa, I'm not talking to you, Alexa. Stop it. Shut up. Anyway. Also, my buddy and another YouTuber, NearEDGE, just joined us. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man.
We're just talking about the least incendiary thing anybody can ever talk about on a YouTube live stream, and that's the Black experience in America.
Oh yeah, no, totally. It's so PC, right?
Yeah, super PC. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. You just said Alexa, and I saw this meme on Reddit the other day. It says people in the 60s were like, the government will wiretap your home. People now, hey, wiretap, can cats eat pancakes?
Yeah.
They're Sprint's giving away the Google Home with the G6.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
I'm totally
That's
getting that shit.
literally me, except asking the same question but putting chickens at the cat's part.
Right.
Chickens can eat fucking anything. Except
Yeah, they'll eat just about anything.
What? Oh yeah, I got into an argument with our AI live on camera, of course. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I mean, unless anybody else has good theories, let's say it could be a mixture of any of these different social factors that led to the decline of the marriage rate. So why? I mean, because this is just based off statistics, and I personally, this is my disclaimer, I personally haven't looked at these statistics, so I have not verified them. But going off that these might actually be accurate, why then would it have hit Black neighborhoods before anybody else?
I think it's a development of different culture.
I think it's also perhaps. I'm sorry. But I think it might be like the fact that demographically there's actually less Black people in this country compared to like a white person, so a minority would actually be affected more than the majority.
So it was like a microcosm of what was gonna. That's actually not a bad. That's not a bad theory.
I think more than anything else, it has to do with it's like a multitude of things just combining on themselves. Like you've got the geographical factor that most Black people live in urban areas, then the decline of jobs in urban areas and things like that. So you have now both Black men and women having to take jobs where it really doesn't lend itself to having a good social life, more or less.
That's a good point.
So you wind up getting people really just being more insular within their communities and really only preferring to, talk to a close group of friends and stuff like that. So I notice that's a big problem where a lot of Black women complaining about not having a lot of good men around them and stuff like that. And it really winds up being the case that because there are so many Black people in, I don't want to say impoverished areas, but like places you would want to move out of, that people wind up having to distribute more. And that just compounds the issue just further and further.
Yeah, I'm 2 blocks south of Inglewood. Yes. So
go
my
ahead,
childhood was pretty much police tape on every block. Police tape every weekend. Every weekend. I'm glad that slowed down and pretty much doesn't happen anymore.
Damn, that's crazy. Fucking,
yep.
I don't know. I lived right on the edge of Pigeon Town in New Orleans for about a year, and that was a hell of an experience.
I know Eugene and Corvallis are just kid gloves, like the nicest place. You know, it's wonderful that we get to live here.
Yeah. We have it really good in the state. I mean, Oregon is terrible. Nobody ever move here, please. Please stop coming.
You know, I'm in the moving industry. Oregon is the #1 inbound market in the country, times a lot.
Oh yeah. But I think NearEDGE had a really good point though, and I didn't even think about that. Is, you know, if you have an impoverished neighborhood and the jobs are not really paying too terribly well, especially things like external factors like gentrification, the increase of rent rates, the high cost of living, when you start having to rely on both parents to work, I imagine a lot of people are not really prepared for that. And that might tear some families apart pretty quickly, actually.
Oh yeah, not even just families, but relationships. I mean,
Yeah.
The lack of being able to spend time with your partner and like really just getting to connect, that really just kills that.
Oh,
I think
God,
that's probably
throw a
in
fucking
of itself why
kid-
the single motherhood rate's so high.
You throw a fucking kid in there, and like you're just asking for a powder keg of things breaking apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think geography just probably is the biggest factor that plays into it.
So what you're saying is we gotta.
So are you
we gotta
saying that
spread
these
people-
Democrat-controlled cities are a problem?
Yeah, that may
Wait,
very well be the problem in and of
It's the
itself.
Democrats' fault.
Are you saying Hillary's 3 strikes rule led to so many big problems?
Oh God, 3 strikes.
I
rule.
would never suggest anything like that.
Fuck. 3 strikes rule is fucking insane.
Black people are gonna vote for the woman that caused their problems.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that's for voting Trump.
Right.
When I graduated high school, I was probably the only person in my graduating class who was married before I had a child. Every other girl that I knew was not married before they had a child. And then even after they had the child, their relationships just crumbled. I mean, some of them are still together, but you kind of, they'll sit there and say, I'm engaged and I can't wait to be married. And I'm sitting here like, okay, when? You have a child, pick one.
Right.
It's almost like these people who get into these kind of relationships are not really prepared for the responsibility of said relationships.
They're not.
Really?
They're really not. Like they're still in. Well, like except for one girl, well maybe two. Except for two, have jobs. But the only thing that they are immature in is their inability to have a relationship, like have a real relationship with a man. Like, you know, having sex is easy. Anybody can do that.
Yep.
Actual relationship with them. And this is where, you know, this is kind of like maybe a controversial view, but this is where I think the Black community with women and men, kind of this divide with women and men is lacking. Women, and this is like a stereotype, but we do, like women, we do tend to be kind of loud and overbearing, and, you know, this is how it's going to be. Refusal to, I'm going to say, submit to a man. It should be both ways, but I think Black women in particular kind of have an issue with kind of submitting and kind of sitting down and listening to what someone else says and kind of, you know, compromising. Whether it kind of gets to the point where if a Black woman says so, that's what it's going to be. And I know, like, as you know, there's a lot of joking around about how, you know, raise their children, their boys, you know, where it's this very overpowering, you know, overpowering behavior with a Black woman, in my opinion. But with Black men, nobody wants to be nagged at all day. No, so you know, why
I know
would you wanna be in a
some
relationship with
dudes.
someone?
Oh my goodness, I cannot
know
stand nagging.
I know some dudes
Nag
that
their cup.
actually like that shit.
Yeah, sometimes it's a very functional part. I got these friends, my ex-girlfriend's brother and sister, you know, she's constantly nagging, you know,
Ugh.
and I'm like, I cannot even believe, like, and I pissed her off, and she doesn't like me anymore because she said something. She's talking, and she like snapped right in his face, you know, and it just came out of mouth like, man, your ass would be walking if you ever did some shit like that to me, you know, but
Right.
but he was like, you know, they both were like, well, no, because he just zones out. you know, and like her nagging is kind of like a freedom, like she's doing him a favor because he can just have this thoughtless existence, you know, and not really pay attention, just kind of like just follow along. And then she's like, hey, do this thing. He's like, okay, I'm gonna do the thing.
Yes,
you know?
dear.
So from the outside, it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna strangle you right now, woman. But to him, he's like, oh, thank you, I get to have this peaceful existence. So
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think what it is that and it's something I notice a lot with my friends growing up. Like I think a lot of Black mothers are like that. You know, it's just something, you know, my mom's kind of like that. I never was okay with it, as you can imagine, but I think that's how a lot of us grow up, and then it just becomes the norm. But it's, you know, when you start branching out and talking to other kinds of people, and you realize that's not how everything in life has to be, it becomes a lot less acceptable for what you want in your own relationships, you know?
Yeah. It's just I was just kind of shocked because when I got out of college and everything, because I really thought everyone else had a relationship except really for me. Like I had just gotten out of what really was, oh, this is kind of another thing about it, but what was kind of an verbally abusive relationship on his part, where, you know, because I wasn't like the Black girl that he wanted, kind of this I don't know if he wanted like this trashy hip hop loving girl or something. Not that hip hop is trashy. I'm separating trashy from hip hop. But, you know, he kind of wanted like this specific Black girl, and he didn't get that from me. So the relationship was very verbally abusive on his part, to the point where he said that he wanted to actually. So I got out of that relationship. And I, you know, and everybody else had like this relationship. And I thought that tons of my friends are going to get married, like, because they seemed happy. They seemed like they were in this happy relationship. And then I get into a new relationship and I get married, you know, about 2 years of dating. I get married. 6 years. My cousin has been in a relationship with her boyfriend. She's long gotten out of high school for about 6 years. They've yet to get engaged and get married. And in my personal opinion, I have very traditional views about marriage. And in my personal opinion, if you've been with someone longer than 3 years and get married, what is the difference of getting married compared to already being in the relationship? Besides, you got to live together.
So I have another question that I'm kind of curious about, and it might be interesting along these same lines. Do you feel like there's kind of a social push to make children have to be more mature faster? Do you think that maybe that is more pertinent in some neighborhoods rather than others? Do you think that might have a factor in some of all this that's going on?
RK theory?
I'm sorry.
Is that what it's called?
Do I think is there?
You're pretty much saying RK theory when you're saying that some kids have to mature faster.
Well, no, I'm not like biologically they're maturing faster, but like our society kind of encourages kids to be kids less, like to start maturing faster. There seems like a push for kids to want to be as mature as they possibly can be, or get that responsibility early.
I don't really think that. I think nope. I don't think that our society is asking kids to mature faster. In fact, I think that society is kind of allowing kids to be immature.
Really?
If you compare it to 50, 100 years ago, like age 14, and not only just because of
I guess what do you mean by mature faster? Are you talking about like
well, I mean, if God, now everybody's like spinning RKO theory in the fucking chat. It's not exactly what I was talking about, guys. But I shouldn't say before I even say what I'm going to say. Say, for instance, you have I know in. Maybe this is like an anachronism issue, because how society was portrayed in the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, and before, it seemed like kids were kids and kids were kids, and kids were not necessarily along the same, didn't have the same expectations, or at least themselves were not behaving along the same lines as fully sexualized adults. Now, not to say that kids are encouraged to be more mature, because they're not, but that our society kind of somebody else help me out here. Anybody know where I'm going with this? All Alone. Okay.
Okay.
I wish I could do a cricket whistle. I can't yet.
Right.
For next time.
But so there's a huge amount of people who now let their kids go to, like, say, concerts and dress hypersexualized. And I'm not saying necessarily it's a good thing or a bad thing, but do you feel like there might
It's a bad thing. It's a very, very bad thing.
You think so?
Yes, I'm a street vendor as well. I work Soldier Field. I've seen what little these children wear.
Prostitutes.
Prostitutes.
Oh fuck! But that's exactly what they are. Like, I cannot believe the amount of really short outfits those kids can have on.
Mind you, I've seen the shortest ones at country concerts.
I'm sorry, I got kicked out.
Oh, it's all good. You did hear prostitutes though, didn't you, Patty? That was my favorite. Holy shit, that was amazing.
Oh my god! But like, I guess if a kid wants to do like some sort of pageants or whatever, like, go ahead, let the kid do it, but don't let them wear these kind of ridiculous short shorts and skimpy clothes. It's just ridiculous to have them have those stuff on.
Well, I think that one thing to think about is in an economically depressed place and in culture, in Black culture, it's like, again, if you're going through school, if you're a teenager or whatever, and you're looking forward to going to college, or you just have this wider view of your options as you grow older, and so you value these things differently, Whereas in Black cultures or in certain Black economically depressed areas where there's a very good chance you ain't going to college, there's a very good chance you have a pretty good idea of what kind of jobs are out there, especially in your community, And so then, being sexy, being funny, being classy, like these other things become a lot more valuable, And so, I mean,
Right,
like,
that's your social currency.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I didn't smoke weed. I feel like I'm on weed, but I didn't smoke weed. I was going to fix that differently.
Of course, you smoke weed before the stream.
Right.
But anyway, he was also talking about the issue, not just only crime, but also poverty. Like, what you guys think about poverty? For Black poverty?
I think poverty can be quite generational, but at the same time, a lot of these people, I've noticed a lot of Black people are getting into like this communism and socialism is great thing, and they really don't know, they engage in the benefits of capitalism all the time, but they really don't know what they're talking about when it comes to communism and socialism, and that they think this whole collective thing is a great idea.
Right, like I remember seeing this guy on YouTube. I forgot that guy's name. It was Gazi Kozo, who's part of the so-called like
Black killer.
Yeah, like the Zulu movement, and he was going on how socialism is great. And there's also, I guess, other groups like that. It's just amazes me how these kind of people buy into these kind of extreme ideologies.
Well, the undercurrents of it have been there. I want to say, well, I don't know exactly how far back it goes, but the idea of the Black community itself, like in the way it sort of manifests and like what you hear people talking about, like it's extremely collectivized. And that's one of the things that I think really contributes to, I don't want to say it directly contributes to the poverty, but I think it definitely does play a role in it. Like even with like, there's a stigma around wanting to leave the ghetto if you live in the ghetto. That's
Right, and there's also a
think
stigma.
better than me, nigga.
Right, there's also a big stigma when you're actually starting to speak proper English. Like they say, like, "Hey, why are you speaking proper English? And you're supposed to speak Black or something."
Oh,
yeah. If I,
hated that.
White.
I still get those comments.
I used to in my school, I used to avoid saying the N-word, and everybody would get on my nerves. Say, why don't you say the N-word? Why don't you say N-word? Why are you trying to be white? You don't want to say N-word. And I'm like, I don't want to say it because it's ignorant. That's why I don't want to say it. And they just say, why are you trying to be white? I was probably the only one who spoke. Not the only one. I won't say that, but I speak pretty standard Northern English compared to the people in my school. A lot of them came from Detroit, So they spoke kind of like this mix of Ebonics and standard Northern English. So
Yeah, I cannot speak Ebonics for my life at all.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
know
think
what
I
you
have
mean.
either.
I don't know. I learned quite a bit of it when I was living
Hey,
in
yo,
New
hold up.
Orleans,
You said
but-
we was hitting the shit.
we was came.
I ain't about that life, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Nah, son, nah.
Nah, so you know what? I've been ever since I moved down south. I've been saying "ain't" a lot more. Like,
Mhm.
Oh yeah. After a couple months in New Orleans, I got the drawl going down and everything like that. I I lived in Pigeon Town. Everybody left me alone because I cooked everybody's fucking breakfast at the local diner. You know, it's everybody. I got along with everybody, but I started getting that Nolans drawl. You know, started talking a little bit, trying to get a little bit more localized, talk with the people and shit like that. And one day I was serving up this guy as breakfast. His name was Spooky. That was his fucking name, man. That was his fucking name. Solid gold motherfucking grill. His eyes. There was something weird going on with Spooky. You know, like
He's the shadow man.
yeah, he had that fucking look, you know. And he was always really nice to me. I was always really nice to him. And I offer up his plate, and I started busting out a little bit of Ebonics, and he looked me dead in the eye. He's like, "Don't ever fucking do that again." I'm like, "Okay, all right."
And he said it in that same kind of white voice. He broke
Yeah.
his Ebonic. He's like,
He turned off his Ebonics and was like, "Jeff, don't you ever fucking talk like that again."
I'm going to have to request politely that you refrain from using this type of language in the future.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, man.
I don't know. I guess my problem with has always been like, I feel like it's really just, you know, arbitrary ways of speaking. I mean, sure, you can go to a literature class and get like the finer points of when to use I and me and such, but I think it's all just some elitists picking how we should talk. I mean, none of us speak clean English right now. I mean, we spell words different.
yeah, we're kind of just speaking informally right now. So
Oh yeah. I mean, they're all just dialects. The only thing about it is like it's just a dialect that some people just don't really get, you know.
Yeah.
I guess my issue is like, I guess people they value certain words more than they would value others. Like when people say, like I remember being in high school and middle school or whatever, you would have somebody who quote unquote proper, whatever. But when people say, "Oh, you sound white," it's not really saying. It's more like the cadence and the tones you put to what kind of words you choose to use at certain times. Like, not necessarily one thing. Like I don't know. I guess I could say you could take somebody like Donald Trump and take somebody like Barack Obama, and they can say the exact same sentence. Donald Trump sounds white and Barack Obama sounds black. If that makes sense. Maybe no.
Maybe.
I mean, even like Donald Trump, he does not sound like as proper like say the news anchors.
Yeah, I know. I've been saying.
Hold on now. Donald Trump speaking properly.
Patty.
Yes.
You plucking a chicken while you're.
Is that what you do?
What?
There's like lots of bumps on your mic, and I was like, is Patty doing farm work while she's talking to us? I bet she is. What's that rooster's name, by the way?
Huh?
What's your rooster's name?
What's my rooster's name? I actually have how many roosters? I got 6 roosters actually.
The one you're holding in that picture. What's your rooster's name?
That rooster's dead.
So what I just posted on Twitter, the roosters that I posted on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't have names. I had just gotten them last week. I don't name my livestock. I do not. I really don't like naming my livestock because
you should name your livestock.
If I'm going to eat them, why would I name them?
You're not eating pets.
Food number 1 and food number 2. Easy enough.
Yeah, that's lunch. That's dinner. That's I'm high. And it's like 2:00 in the morning.
The orange one is orange chicken, obviously.
So now it's a race thing.
What's the brown one? 2-piece?
General So.
Okay, so here's the story. This lady was trying to get rid of these roosters, these 5 roosters that she owns, and I told her I'll take them all off her hands, no questions asked. So I got 5 roosters in the sack of 50-pound cracked corn for
Some crack corn cane.
for $20. I got
Silly crack corn.
It was the best deal I've ever had. So one rooster. Actually, tomorrow I'm gonna be killing a rooster. But today I got these Rhode Island Reds. They're jerks. They fight each other all the time.
I think like we're talking about 2 different things, though. You talk about cracked corn, and now you're talking about something red. Like, what you got going on the side there, Patty?
Well, I got a 50-pound sack of feed and 5 roosters for $20, and it wasn't feed; it was cracked corn.
Okay, yeah.
And it's funny because Jimmy cracked corn, and I don't care. So that's hilarious, right?
Getting back to the stream topic, like I recall like Destiny also saying that the justice system prevents Black people from getting married, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Did he ever explain what he meant by that?
He's right in a way. It did prevent us, but it's not preventing us now.
Right. Did he ever elaborate, Tyler? I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but I remember him saying that prevents us.
You watched it. You watched that whole stream too, didn't you, Isaiah?
Yeah, I did. I don't think he was saying like it's a like 1-to-1 correlation. I guess he was saying like all these things. Yeah, that's kind of.
Oh, Patty, you bumped all the way through that.
I was saying like it seemed like he wasn't saying like it was a 1-to-1 connection. He was saying like all the things that go on, through the Black community, where it's like or prison system, yada yada yada.
Sure. Okay. Well, I mean, I could kind of understand that, but that's like a weird correlation to make. Like, Black people are prevented from getting married because there's too many Black men in jail. Like, I mean, I guess I kind of get that. Sort of.
Well, I think it's very important to look at the health side of this as well, because during the time when the marriage rates dropped faster in Black communities, there was an explosion of jungle fever to near epidemic levels. And so all of a sudden there's all these horny white women coming in, during the same period of time.
This ain't jungle fever.
Hey, they know what the good shit is.
Hey, man, I got some jungle fever. I ain't gonna lie.
I got yellow fever.
I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but I'm gonna have to go. I really enjoy being here, and I'm sorry my internet's been so crap, but I'm gonna have to
not
go.
your internet, YouTube.
We love you, Patty. Hey, we'll be hanging out tomorrow, right?
Enjoy your day.
Yes, I'll be here tomorrow.
All right, cool. All right, take care.
Bye.
We just found another Black
All
woman.
right, see y'all later.
But yeah, what were you saying again, David?
Oh, I don't know, just shitty one-liners.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just a really strange. The whole thing seemed really strange because I don't know. Destiny just he sounded like he'd never talked to a Black person in his fucking life.
He had.
Kidding.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all these progressives, though.
Oh,
like in all honesty.
It's carpentry, laying down carpet. That ain't shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was saying like nobody wants to work construction. I would know. I cleaned carpet.
That's worse. That's maintenance. That's not even maintenance.
There's not even sweat involved.
I've used a rug doctor. I know what it's like to do roofing.
The bottom of his shoes are always clean.
Guys, I have to go myself. I have dinner on the table, but be right back, okay?
All right, no worries, buddy.
All right.
Dinner.
Yeah.
It's like 3 o'clock.
Well, he's yeah, I think he's over on the East Coast. Yeah, Tyler's on the East Coast. That's probably why. I don't know. We'll start wrapping it up a little bit. But apparently, according to fragmentary commentary, Destiny and Sky, was it Sky Williams had a debate? That would be interesting because Sky Williams is amazing.
Oh,
He's
it's on his,
fabulous.
I think it's on his whatever, his YouTube or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to check that one out. That's interesting. But yeah, we'll just start wrapping it up. I said I put in the description before that I wasn't gonna interrupt the discussion, but since we're at the tail end of it now, I did get a very lovely tip from fragmentary commentary. He made the point of separation equals emotional distance plus proximity times frustration. On some of like the points of breaking down the traditional family, which separation equals emotional distance plus proximity frustration. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things that could tie into why people just don't stay married as much anymore.
Yeah, that goes into what I was saying.
Yeah,
OPP.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I was really lucky that my parents stayed married the whole time I was being raised by them. They almost didn't several times. And they were like the perfect Americana fucking parents. So I can only imagine if you don't have like the most ideal circumstances, how easy it is for the family unit to fall apart.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what it is in every instance. You know, people talk just about black people with this one because I mean it's so prevalent within the black community, but when you look across the board, the traditional marriage is declining, and conservatives are getting all up in arms about it. Well, you're the ones who fucking caused this, you know, with getting rid of all the fucking jobs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that could be a big part of it. That could be huge.
I think that's it for everybody, you know, because once everybody has to like work all the extra hours and everything just to make ends meet, which is I think for like everything from the I want to say the middle of the lower class, middle of the middle class down. That's that just kills people. It kills relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing because you think about like financial difficulties and drugs and alcohol and all the things that are the causes of divorce, you know, and they just affect African American communities disproportionately, you know.
I think so too, and it's a lot of it is just by nature of like, you know, the historical trends of certain types of neighborhoods. I think is a huge contributing factor to it. I think one of the things that drives me the most crazy about the whole topic, though, and the whole situation is people tend to dumb down the conversation into just simply that that's a racial effect and not necessarily that it's the byproduct of it. That it affects certain races more is more of a byproduct of external situations than it is like, well, they're black, so they're gonna be fucking poor, and it just doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah, it's one of the things I hate because like, if you ever go to Detroit or Atlanta or Birmingham or somewhere like that, what's the first thing you see? Hundreds or thousands of closed down factories. That's it. Like it's all just wastelands of factories.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in my neighborhood, I walked
100,000.
past several of them.
Do you?
100,000 of what? It cut out for me.
Oh, closed down factories.
Yeah.
I think they should give black people an industry like they gave casinos to Native Americans. We should just pick one of the vices. You steal our land, we give you monkey for your back. It's like, okay, now all black people own, you know, alcohol or whatever the fuck, you know.
They ain't gonna do that shit.
There you go.
I think
Oh hell no.
alcohol rights belongs to Irish people. Let's just see which group can drink the others under the table. Then decide that group who still stands, they own alcohol.
Oh shit! Oh man, if we're gonna have a drinking contest between the Irish and blacks, man, that means you and me. We're gonna have race war.
I like it.
Yeah, I did.
What about the black? What about the black Irish?
Oh, the whole
the McRib. You ain't never heard no Lucky Charms?
I did actually.
I have orange hair. I have orange hair, so I don't know what I stand in the race for. I guess.
Yeah, I did actually challenge some black guy, the YouTuber, some black guy, to a drinking contest once, and we were going to call it Race War, but he was like moving to Europe, and we didn't get a chance to do it. So maybe one of these days we'll do a stream.
I'll have a drinking challenge with you any day of the week, sucker.
Oh yeah, shit. Maybe you'll just have to come over to my house, and we'll we'll live stream and shoot the shit and do a drinking contest for everybody.
I've been cross training for the last decade or so, so you're going down.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I do squats while like chugging a 40, man. Like I'm into this shit. I'm down.
We shall see. We
420
shall see.
deck.
Put some money on it too.
Oh damn! You make way more than me, so I don't know.
Well, it could also be some kind of shame or I don't know. Trump
I'll talk to you
supporter.
guys later.
Yeah,
These
we're
kids
gonna.
are getting kind of rowdy. I'll talk to you guys.
No worries. Yeah, hey, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. And so we're gonna go ahead and go offline here. Thanks to everybody who's been watching in the chat. Thanks for spending some time with us.
All right.
Anybody who's seeing this in the future,
I'll
Thanks
see you
so
on a
much.
Base Mama stream for praising Keck.
yeah, Chatelet, free Kekistan. All right.
Shout out, my brother.